Hello everyone, today is the 3rd of February. In Malawi, we lived about 250 kilometers north of the capital city, Lilongwe, in a place called Mbangweni. The first 220 kilometers or so generally took under 3 hours on the one tar road that ran the length of the country from the deep south to the far north. The last 30 kilometers normally took around 40 minutes on a good day. Sometimes it took much longer. Every once in a while, usually in the rainy season, it was impossible to get through. This last part of the journey, you see, was on a dirt road. Choked with dust in the dry season, it turned to a quagmire in the wet. It was rarely anything but uncomfortable. When you turned off the tarmac, you headed west towards the Zambian border. Mbangweni was about 15 kilometers from this border. The Zambians were our neighbors. Or were they? It was funny, you know. When anything considered seriously bad happened in our isolated part of the world, it was always blamed on the Zambians. If a house was broken into, it was the Zambians. If there was a robbery, it was the Zambians. Once there was an attempt to hold up the mobile bank that came to our village in the back of a Land Rover, guarded by a police officer with an old rifle. Clearly, the attempted heist was the work of the Zambians. If cattle were rustled, you know who it was. It was the Zambians. If violence was ever involved, thankfully, a very rare thing in Malawi in those days, that was most definitely the Zambians. When the Zambians were invoked as the obvious culprits of the most recent high crime or misdemeanor in our sleepy backwater, we who were not locals would roll our eyes at the blatant scapegoating. We could see through what was going on. But you know, no matter where in the world we are, from the largest cities to remote rural areas, when something goes wrong, we always seem to find an outsider, an alien, a foreigner, someone not like us to blame. It's the travelers. It's the Mexicans. Ask ex-President Trump. It's the Asians. It's asylum seekers. It's people from council estates. It's blacks. Like Enoch Powell said all those years ago, it's the Rohingya, and on and on and on. Now, before I get too preachy and holier than thou, before I get on my high horse, I have to tell you, I had an uncomfortable moment of realization about myself this past week. You probably heard that a health chief noted that our ABC council area was the epicenter of Northern Ireland's battle with coronavirus. Well, to my shame, when I read that, the thought just popped into my head. That's those people in Craigavon. It sticks in my mind because shortly after, someone reliably told me that Craigavon wasn't the problem. Banbridge was. You know, I like the way the Old Testament reminds us that along with widows and orphans, aliens, that is, foreigners, folk from across the border, people not like us, the other, should be included in our concern and our compassion rather than reflexively condemned and held in contempt. But it might take us a lifetime to learn to live this reality. So helping us forward, I also like the way Jesus insists that before we point out the speck in our neighbour's eye, we have to extract the plank from our own. The problem is, often, many of us are genuinely not even aware the plank is there. The solution? Become aware. Become aware through spending time with people who are not like you, building relationships with them, dismantling the assumptions that lead to prejudice. become friends with folk who are different, just like Jesus did. God bless. Bye for now.